Hi everyone, here we are again for another very interesting session in our Speak Up and Lead Talks, the place to be for sexy and savvy conversations. And today I have the pleasure to have with me a beautiful lady, inside out. Of course, you're going to see the outside first. And she comes from Dominican Republic, and she has been living in Europe for over 30 years. And she is in a mission, and she's in a mission, a very important one. She's in a mission of helping women to liberate themselves from any type of oppression. And I believe a very appropriate topic, even for this week when we have this Me Too movement going on. So for me, it's a pleasure to invite Barbara to the talk today. Barbara, good morning and welcome to the talk.
Hello, Tulia. Thank you so much for having me here.
It's our pleasure. And Barbara, I have to talk to my audience and share with them when I met you about 3 years ago, something
Actually,
like that.
Five.
Five, that much? Oh, Jesus, time flies. It was when I was at the very beginning of the All Summit ideas, and I was organizing events to meet women entrepreneurs and see what was the need in the market in Switzerland. And I met you, and I remember at the time you were a very happy married woman. And then after a few years, I met Barbara and something happened. What happened, Barbara? Tell us. You don't need to go into more details, but tell us, because I know this is part of what you're doing right now.
Yeah, absolutely, Tulia. As you said, I was from the outside. I looked like I was so happily married, right? Because I was always trying my very best to have the best marriage that I could. I mean, I would read books, I would go to seminars, I would pray, I would fast, I did everything. And the truth is that many times we had better periods, but then whatever would happen, then we would go down into a deep low again, a deep valley. And it was so exhausting. It's truly exhausting to be in a situation like this, where you are all the time trying to figure out what is happening, how can I make this person happy, what happened now, why is he upset, is it my fault? And until I realized there was like a process of discovery, that I was in a typical relationship between a narcissist and a codependent.
Wow.
And what that means is that, I know the why. There's always a reason. And when we grow up in families where somebody else is getting all the attention, in my case, it was one of my brothers who was always getting into trouble, who was always needed our attention, our pity, we had to hover around him and try to help him, try to save him. Then other family members take the role of, okay, he's taking so much attention, I'm not going to take up any. And this was exactly my case. So I was what we refer to as a good girl. I was a really good girl, right? So I did everything my parents asked me to do, everything I was expected of me. I lived to please everybody. And that was great when I was growing up. It actually helped me. I was very much liked by everybody. The problem was when I became an adult and when it was time to choose somebody to marry, I chose somebody exactly like my brother was, exactly. So somebody who believed he was larger than life, everything was about him, his opinions were the only ones that matter, his decisions were the most important, and it was either his way or no way at all. And so I entered this marriage that it wasn't, I don't want to say, oh my God, I was beaten. No, it was not. It was not the most awful of marriages. But it was always this feeling to me that it was so asymmetric. So my ex-husband was here, all powerful. He was making all the decisions. everything about him was important, and I was a second-class citizen down here. So my opinions were not important. I didn't have a voice. I had to just submit. And you know, coming from Latin America, this is also, you know, very much part of our culture. And being very religious, there are parts of Christianity that also indulge this kind of thinking. So I think all of these things combined then made me be somebody that, you know, had lost my voice, had lost my dreams, had lost my personality really. And until one day that he was again fighting with me and calling me names and criticizing me from A to Z about nonsense. It was one time too many. It was like, you know, I describe it as, you know, when you take a rubber band and you start like stretching it, every time you stretch it, it hurts, but then you release it and it goes back to its shape. And again, you would stretch it. It was like every time we would fight, it was that. And that one time, Tulia, the rubber band broke. It just broke. And I felt something in my heart had broken, you know, had like let go. And I said, that's it. I don't want this anymore in my life. And that day I ended a 20-year-old marriage.
Wow, Barbara.
Yeah. And I became free. And
Yeah,
my life has changed 180 degrees since that day.
Well done for you. Although it's here, we are not vindicating like the marriages should be broken. Let's make clear on that. But I understand, listening to you, that this is such a common story. And even again, coming from Latin America, I know exactly what you mean. And we, unfortunately, what I see also, Barbara, is that many women gets broken. They stretch, they get broken, but then they don't move forward. And for no reason, let's say no reason, not criticizing them, but maybe they don't have the strength, they don't find the strength, and they still fall into this psychological pattern that is their fault. And I really admire the fact that you got to that point, which is awful. Like, we would like not to be able to break ourselves, to be able to make a decision to look after ourselves better, to respect ourselves, to build up our self-esteem. And I believe that's why you then started doing what you're doing, which is giving the emotional strength, so to help women to find their emotional strength. Is that correct? Share it with us.
Yes, totally, exactly. So you can imagine, after this like awakening that I had and this liberation, I mean, helping women liberate themselves is my passion. Okay, so I so feel for these women that maybe are super talented, super beautiful, they deserve amazing things, have really big hearts. That's why they end up in that place in the first place, right? And I say, my goodness, it's these women that deserve the best, and they are suffering from, you know, because of thoughts that are lies, that are just lies. They're just old patterns, right? So I teach women, you know, oppression is not just somebody that, you know, is pushing you down and is putting you down and is belittling you, but you accept that, because this is really important to you, because those thoughts are already inside of you. So already from childhood, you know, we know that nobody comes out of childhood unscathed. Right? So from childhood, we already have feelings and thoughts that I'm unworthy, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve the best, right? I need to keep my mouth shut. So I teach them that oppression comes first and foremost from the thoughts that we have inside of us. And this is what we need to break free from. So even, for example, victim mentality. How many women we got used to being the victim, we perpetuate that. Right? So I say, your enemies are not exactly people. Your enemies are those feelings and thoughts like self-pity, perfectionism, right? How many women make their lives miserable because they expect perfectionism from themselves? Fear, right? We live under fear. So when we live under fear, we don't dare to be ourselves. We don't dare to take risks. A big one among women, especially Tulia, is self-doubt. We doubt ourselves so much. So, right, we make a decision and then we say, oh no, but is that the right one? And of course, then we allow somebody else to make all decisions for us because we don't trust our own decisions, right? So I want to make this clear that when you end up in a relationship like this, you are both guilty, let's say, right? Because you're both used to certain roles that you keep playing, although it's such an unhealthy relationship. So I don't want to say, oh my God, my ex-husband was a monster. No, my ex-husband was the person I was looking for because I was looking for somebody to fulfill that role so I could continue fulfilling my role of being the good little girl that had no voice, right? But I realized, oh my gosh, I was wasting my life, my talents, my knowledge, and I don't want that to happen to other women.
Yeah, and you know, Barbara, it's so important, this realization, and that I'm very happy that you manage, and you are. I'm sure this is a process and it's an ongoing process, and the more you work with other women, you also are healing yourself for sure. Because as a mother that you are, and as all the mothers out there, we know how much how big is the influence of the mother in the family. You can have a strong father and very authoritative or even very caring, but the mother figure is something very special and very determined. So if you have a mother playing this role of being the good girl, the victim, then that is the information you're also passing to your children. Being, if it's a girl, she will most likely to follow your path or be a completely rebel against everything you represent because she doesn't want to be that there, and she will then suffer for different reasons, and the boy will be perpetuating the male figure, or even the other way around, they will try to protect the mama, and then it doesn't develop us as a strong man in the good path, let's say that way. Women should really, really consider, like, when we are in positions like that, and when we are affecting everybody around us. And I take the opportunity to mention this Me Too movement that was going on this week, which was amazing to see in terms of actions not taken. Then all of a sudden, that movement that started very modestly, someone just posted there, I don't even remember who started that, and all of a sudden every single person, every single woman started tagging the Me Too and sharing what happened and saying, now I want to talk about it. And also the ones that even said, it didn't happen to me, but I saw it happening. And this would be my next question to you, because when you are in this situation of any kind of abuse or emotional, psychological, and the worst, physical as well, I believe sometimes you might feel paralyzed and completely disempowered, embarrassed, and the worst, feeling that it's your fault, that you're not doing the right thing, that you deserve all this bad stuff that's happening to you, and you don't take action. And even like maybe you have someone in your family, is your sister, is your cousin, is your friend, and you see it happening, and again you don't take action because then you don't want to get involved. I don't know if in Dominican Republic you have this saying, but in Brazil we have the saying that fights between couples, you don't put your wooden spoon, meaning you don't mess around with the, and people just abstain. But sometimes I believe we have to voice. And what you would suggest, and from your experience, and the ladies already work with you, what were the actions, not after starting the process, but before, what would be the actions they could take to not go too far? Let's try to avoid to break the band, the elastic band, as you very well explained at the beginning.
I think, as we know, it's very hard for an outsider actually to make the person who is in that process understand this is not normal. You know, it's very hard because we're so much into our own heads that I remember I had specifically my sister. She would tell me a lot, Barbara, that's not normal. Barbara, you're an amazing woman. Why are you putting up with all that crap? You know? And I couldn't get out of my own patterns. You know, I would say, no, she doesn't understand. No, I have to be a good girl. She doesn't understand that this is how it works. Things work for me like that, you know, except that at one point I had to realize it's not working for me anymore, right? So I think it is hard, but we have to go through our own awakening. And if there is any woman listening to us that is going through a similar thing, you know, or it doesn't even have to be, Tulia, that she's in an abusive marriage. Maybe there are women out there who have no love in their lives, right? Who don't even have a boyfriend because they run after the wrong type of men. Many of my clients are these type of women, right? They are always ending up with emotionally unavailable men. So they end up being hurt because, again, they don't know their worth. They don't see that they are good enough, that they are better than good enough, right? So I think to all women, please start educating yourself, right, as to your own worth, as to what it means to be a human being, as to what it means to be an extension of the universe. And that because you're an extension of the universe, which is love, then you deserve, by definition, everything that is wonderful. And anything that doesn't feel good and that is hurting you is not the will of life for yourself, right? So educate yourself, seek out help. Of course, that's always a shortcut. You know, instead of figuring everything out for yourself, that's why it took me so long, honestly. And although thankfully I found coaching, and through coaching, then I started to, like, it was like a whole different world was unfolding, you know, inside of me. So yes, get in touch with a coach or with a counselor or a minister, or, you know, somebody that has knowledge of this and can help you change your ways. And if you notice, wait, something is not wrong, it is not right, maybe even if you don't know what it is, seek help. Try to just be with an open mind. What do you think about this? Right? But it has to come first from the person.
Yeah. Yes, I understand exactly what you're saying when you say that when you are in the situation, it's very difficult to see that you are in a situation. It's a denial. Huh? We don't want to believe that. It's a sense of fail, I believe. We don't want to feel like that we fail.
I really think it's not even that. I think it's, to us, it's normal. It's normal because you grew up already with this pattern. This is, you know, even if a woman is being beaten every day, for her, Tulia, that's her comfort zone. And I tell people, comfort zone is not comfortable. It should be named the known zone. Right? We stay in there not because it's comfortable, but it's what we know. So we interpret, this is what I know, this is okay. Although it can be super not okay, right? But this is what for us is normal. That's why we don't realize, hey, there's something wrong with this. And even if people tell us there's something wrong, we don't see it. You know, something major has to happen for us to, like, boom, you know, like, wait, to have an aha moment, right? And that's why I like to have different workshops that are free. It's like a service for the community, but where I try to bring these aha moments into women's lives, so they realize, oh, wait, maybe this is not how it's supposed to be.
Mm. And also important is to see that you're not alone, that this doesn't happen only with you, and that's not a punishment for any reason that you're not being good.
Okay.
Yes.
Good point.
And my last question to you, Barbara, would be, what key points you could share with the community, something that they can support them if they find out, they feel that something is not right, or anything that you would like to just to give to them?
I would say, Tulia, apart from seeking help, something that you can do all for yourself is start to be less reactive, right? Reactive is when we are in that dynamic, the person does this, so then I do that, so he raises his voice, so then I'm afraid, I don't open mine, right? Or, oh no, now he's playing the victim, so then I want to rescue him, right? These are the common dynamics in this type of relationship. And I would tell them, this is how I started to heal myself, Tulia, was first to start observing, become an observer of my life. So become an observer of your life, of your own feelings. Why do I feel on a consistent basis, right? What makes me feel sad? What makes me feel angry? What are my triggers? What triggers me, right? What triggers a strong reaction in me? And observe in the other person. Wait, what is happening? Why is he mad? Does he have anything really objectively to do with me? Right? What are his triggers? So I would say, and this is why I call my mission emotional strength, because Tulia, our heart waves are 5,000 times stronger than our brain waves, right? That means that what we're feeling is 5,000 times more important than what we're thinking. You realize that? And many people's lives are totally managed by emotions, right? Especially through Latin America, right? So people are like, they get really mad, or then they're really depressed, and they have these big shifts, right? And it's really important to start observing yourself. Just that. I tell people, start observing yourself and record what is happening. And I tell you, this is how I started to realize, wait, he's mad. That has nothing to do with me. I did not do anything different. And then I started to say, wait, he's trying to get me into this. He's mad, so he wants to get me mad too. This is how I started to realize all these things. And like, but I don't want to be mad, so I'm not going to follow him there, So I started to shut down my triggers, like, no, this has nothing to do with me, and then keep my peace and then build my emotional strength, which was to stay in peace, to stay in joy, to stay in clarity, in security, in confidence, in power. And I believe that's how I was able to get out of that, Tulia. Instead of, as you said, many women after a relationship like that for 20 years, they end up destroyed, unfortunately, destroyed completely. And for me, it was just, I was ready. I was so ready. I was out of there, and my life has taken off in incredible ways.
And we can see that in your beautiful smile. Because I can see all the beautiful energy coming here. That's so good to hear that, Barbara. And thank you so much for sharing your journey, your mission, and a very touching and personal insights. Thank you very much, and I'm sure the community will benefit from that. And I also, as usual, will leave your contact details, and they can contact you directly, I believe, if they need to talk to you. And I know you have some events coming up soon.
Right. Yeah. Yes, I have 2 workshops, one in Zurich and one in Geneva. And on the topic of, are you being managed by your emotions? So very much what we've been talking about, and how to recognize these patterns and get out of them.
Excellent. I will share all this information, so hopefully they join you and benefit from your knowledge and from your care. And it's so nice talking to you. And I'm so happy to see that the new Barbara, no, the real Barbara came out. The real Barbara came out and is shining in the world. Thank you so much. And for everyone listening to us, thank you for watching. And we'll be here again soon. And this is Julia Lopez here in the Speak Up and Lead Talks, your place for sexy and savvy conversations. See you then.
Thank you, Tula. I just want to say thank you so much for having me, inviting me, and even more so for having this space, for women to share their voices. Exactly that. Many times throughout history, we haven't had the opportunity to share our stories, our voices, our message, which is such an important message to the world. So thank you. You are doing a fantastic job.
Thank you so much. And that's my mission too, giving voice to women.
Exactly.
Bye for now.
Okay, bye-bye, Julia.